Your jaw or your mandible bone, your teeth, and the occlusal contacts, your upper cervical spine, and thus your cervical spine, and your cranium, your head, the skull bones, all have an important role in affecting your nervous system's ability to sense, and thus how the rest of the body can move, can relate to the ground, deal with gravity, and navigate through space. Now I know you're asking, why and how? Well, this is where our major or primary sensory organs, our headquarters for a sensory system, are up here, which helps inform the rest of our body how to relate to the ground, gravity, and space. So if any of those areas are limited in their ability to move, they're going to be limited in their ability to sense, and that's going to be limited in their ability to move in relation to the ground, gravity, and space. So for example, I want you to right now bite down, especially in your molars in the back part of your teeth. Bite down as much as you can on one side and observe which side of your body you want to shift your weight towards. And then bite down on the other side and see which side of your body you feel more ease into shifting onto, side to side. Now, I'm not going to tell you what's right or wrong. That's just one example. Another example is just move your jaw one way and see which way you want to shift your body towards. That's just proof or evidence that what goes on up here affects how we hold ourselves up against gravity, supported by the ground, and thus how we can move through space. So I'll give you a quick clinical example. I had an individual who had some chronic knee pain, but really knee swelling around the joint lines, inside and outside aspects of the joint lines, with prolonged standing or sitting activities, right? So this individual tends to hold a lot of stress up in his neck, jaw area. Limited mobility of his jaw. His jaw had a bias orientation in one position more. He had more occlusal contacts on his right side, and his neck also had limited mobility, especially upper cervical spine. So he was limiting the amount of mobility in those areas in his upper quarter, let's say, and that was affecting his ability to eventually turn or twist or rotate. And guess where he had the most successful strategy to learn how to turn? From his knee joints. Thus the swelling around the inside and outside joint lines more on the right side medial aspect than the left. So until I find where I live in Clermont, Florida, where there's about 2,000 million dentists in the area, till I find a forward-thinking, open-minded dentist who wants to break out of their shell and be innovative and perhaps provide a very, very new service that no one's ever heard of in this area and to help a lot of people, I have to be very creative in how to help people break out of these holding patterns or fixated ways of moving that are limiting their capacity to sense and thus move, until I find a dentist that I can work with that would be able to actually create some kind of a splint or a flat occlusal plane mandibular splint, more specifically, that I would actually go and work with them, with the client, so that they would be able to sense these things immediately. I have to address many different areas. It takes a little bit more time, but that's just an example of what I'm trying to do here in Clermont, Florida. So if you know any dentists who might be open-minded to this, I would like to buy them a cup of coffee.